Sam Bankman-Fried has landed in the U.S. to face federal charges after being extradited from the Bahamas. The disgraced former FTX CEO is now in FBI custody, and he's expected to be arraigned in New York today. This comes after prosecutors revealed two of his top associates secretly pleaded guilty to criminal charges in the collapse of the cryptocurrency exchange. Senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky joins me now live from the courthouse here in New York City, along with ABC News contributor and host at the Law and Crime Network, Brian Buckmeyer, for more on this. Aaron, let's start with you. How significant are these guilty pleas for Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend, who is the former CEO of Alameda Research, and co-founder of FTX, Gary Wang? And could more people be charged here?
These guilty pleas certainly add heft to the criminal case that the feds have been building against Sam Bankman-Fried. Alexis, these guilty pleas occurred earlier this week, very quietly. They were remaining under seal until last night. And so Bankman-Fried didn't even know until he landed in New York overnight after waiving extradition from the Bahamas. So he arrived with a little bit of a surprise from federal prosecutors, who now have at least two cooperating witnesses to help navigate them through the complicated finances of FTX, the crypto exchange that Bankman-Fried co-founded with Wang, that collapsed in a $32 billion bankruptcy.
Now, Brian, federal prosecutors say they are cooperating with investigators. How do you expect their cases to play out, and what kind of impact could it have on Bankman-Fried's case?
So interestingly enough, right now, we don't know what they're cooperating with or what they pled guilty to, but we do know how close Wang and Ellison are to this organization that fell apart. And so depending on what they're accused of, what they're admitting to, and the connection between them, FTX, and Bankman-Fried, this could spell disaster for Bankman-Fried in terms of any defenses as to him not knowing what occurred during these wire fraud charges, or his connection, or how deep this goes. This could be very bad for them. What I expect to happen is that they would probably withhold any potential sentencing to see what information they can get out of them and how much they can indict Bankman-Fried with that information.
So, Aaron, Bankman-Fried is going to appear before a federal judge today. What can we expect to happen in court?
He's expected to plead not guilty. He's also expected to ask to be released on bail. That's something he was denied in the Bahamas and may have factored into his decision to waive extradition without any formal proceedings in a Bahamas court, as he would have otherwise been entitled to. So he's going to be in court momentarily. The U.S. Marshals brought him in after he landed overnight at an airport in Westchester County, north of New York City. And then the wheels of the prosecution system begin to turn. And the chief priority, in addition to perhaps charging other people, and we heard from the U.S. attorney here, Damian Williams, that they are not done. They want to figure out what happened to the $8 billion that Bankman-Fried is accused of pilfering in what they've called one of the biggest financial frauds in American history.
So, Brian, I just want to touch on something that Aaron just talked about. He said how, Bankman-Fried was denied bail in the Bahamas. Could he be granted bail here in the U.S., and if so, why?
To say that he could be granted bail, I would say that the law would afford that opportunity. But the likelihood of it happening, I would say, would be 0 to none. And that comes from the nature of the charges, that being the wire fraud and how much money we're talking about on the line, and the fact that he was found and extradited to the Bahamas. Those two factors are huge when you're considering whether or not someone is a flight risk. So I think at least at this initial proceeding, we would see either no bail or probably the highest amount of bail I've ever seen. I don't know what bail you could put for someone to make sure that they're held over when the allegations are that they stole $8 billion. So I would guess no bail.
Right. Good point there. And Aaron, I know that he is also, Bankman-Fried's also facing other lawsuits here from the SEC, from the Commodities Futures Trading. What do we know about those? How may that play out?
Well, those will have to wait until the criminal case is adjudicated, and he is facing 8 counts, 115-year potential maximum sentence if he's convicted on those counts. But he is a white-collar defendant, and even though some have been held pre-trial, Bernie Madoff even was released on bail, and it depends how cooperative Bankman-Fried ultimately wants to be. In the case of Bernie Madoff, the biggest Ponzi scheme ever, he collapsed right away and started helping prosecutors figure out where all the money went. Question is, will Bankman-Fried do the same?
We know you'll stay on top of it for us. Aaron Katursky, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.